Hello,
Hello.
everyone.
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
How are you today?
I'm great. Thank
Yeah,
you.
everything's good here too, in the forest.
We're covering all the biomes today. It's good.
Mm.
So yeah, welcome. The we have a special guest tonight, which is my dear colleague Goosey. Welcome.
Hello.
Hello.
Thank you. Thank you. Very glad to be here.
It's great.
Welcome to the
S
stream.
Thank you.
Sorry. Yeah. We're the American dominance is increasing today. So the idea for tonight's stream is to take the chance to get to know Goosey better, and also to talk a little bit about um, how Hattrick works behind the scenes, like the weekly routines, how we plan and go through with projects, and like how we find new projects to work on, and how we make the decisions, how we plan them, and how we implement them, and so on, and also how the other work that goes on behind the scenes, the stuff that users don't see, how we maintain a big system like Hattrick. So we're gonna go into that a little bit as well, and then we're gonna finish it off with another lesson from Antonio. What's gonna be this week?
Today we're going to learn some about Youth Academy, a very important point if you want to reach the glory on Hattrick.
Cool. Great. So usually we just take it a little easy the first few minutes because people are still dropping in here. But maybe we could start with you, Goosey. Could you just tell us who you are? What's your background?
Yeah, I'm Goosey. I'm an IT engineer and I've worked for Hattrick for almost 12 years now. I come from Venezuela, but moved to Sweden just a bit after I started working for Hattrick. So now I'm also Swedish. Yes, and I'm a developer, so I work with everything developing Hattrick from the backend apps all the way to our mobile application, and of course the website and everything in between. So all the code.
Yeah, I mean I guess you could say that we have a team that is very senior. Like all the developers are by this time very senior because we have had the same core team for 12 years, 10 12 years. So everyone basically knows all the nooks and crannies, which is awesome. And then
Well,
of
now we
course,
have one too.
and now
That
we have,
is
yeah, exactly, and the latest arrival, of course, is more of a someone that is learning still, but I hope to get him on the show as well soon.
yes, of course.
Great. So yeah, we have this. Could we show the um, the program for tonight?
Yes,
Quick.
I'm sharing it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. So yeah, we usually start with just a recap of the week, but I think that's gonna be pretty quick this week since we haven't had any releases since the last stream. We just had the start of the season. Did you win your first matches?
I had a walkover.
Oh, okay,
Oh,
that's worrying.
I mean, not. I didn't give it.
No,
I
no.
won by walkover, of
Yeah,
course,
okay, but it's still
it's okay.
but it still wasn't
I,
fun.
I was scared.
And Antonio?
I won 11 2-0.
Okay,
Oh,
great.
very close.
Yeah.
Yes, my team confidence it is in 9 level.
Mm, that's good. Yeah,
And you,
maybe.
Johan, with all your 4 teams, or how many do you have?
Well, maybe I should. I have 4 teams. I have been trying to reduce the number of teams, but I think I managed to to not lose by walkover on all of them at least. So that's good.
Send match orders, or at least default.
Yeah.
I know what you feel.
I should not have brought up this question. I guess the my project for the for the coming 16 weeks will be to make my teams work again. So we can have that as an art project to for Johan to perform better. But I'm happy to hear that you two won at least. Cool. All right. So yeah, and then we're gonna go walk. Continue talking to Goosey here and have this dip into the Hattrick behind the scenes like we talked about. So no quiz tonight. Sorry to say, we thought that we might not have time for it. But yeah, going back to you, Goosey. So what's your how did you find Hattrick? What was your story with Hattrick before you started working on it?
I started playing Hattrick
Mhm.
back in 2003. I, I I found out about it because all of my workmates were playing. So it was like this Hattrick fever at the office. Um, I was very young, of course, but I was already working. Yes.
Mhm.
And I got a team, and I actually didn't play my team almost at all. The first year, it was all like the forums and the community and the meeting people in real life and stuff. But then I said like, okay, there's also a game actually behind this community. So then I started playing, and I got really hooked up. And in 2006, I became a mod.
Mhm.
It was like at least for me, it was like a great honor to have something to do with Hattrick also, more than just playing. And I really enjoyed it because I was in the forums like basically all of my awake time anyway. So, and then yeah, sometime later there was this ad that they were looking for people for devs, and I was in Venezuela, and I was actually, yeah, me and my family, we had been looking for options to move abroad, and I applied, and it just worked out. So Hattrick helped me, of course, to get the visa and stuff in Sweden, and yes, and
Mhm.
that's how we ended up here.
So you came at a pretty like a pretty chaotic time, like when we set up the new office in Malmö, and then after 2 years, then we got bought by Satika, and then we returned to the old management. So you started when you came. It was to a pretty big office, but
Yes, and
yeah,
hiring more and more. Yes.
people, yeah, and then it shrank again. But I think both phases it was a very nice group of people that we had when
Yeah, yeah.
we
I mean,
were
I enjoyed everything. Like it was great, being new in a country to know a lot of people because we were like 15 at the office or something. And then it was great because we, did like afterworks and hung out too. So it was a very nice. It has always been a very nice environment around the Hattrick office, wherever or however it was.
mm,
Um, and then of course it was very sad when the team needed to shrink, but then it was then it became more like a family, because it's just so few of us that we, to me, it's really a family. Like, yes.
Yeah. No, to explain, like we have like a core dev team that is based in Sweden, and then um, uh, we have like some extra workers. That we have one developer that works a lot for us in the Ukraine, and then we have customer service, and they are based in Brazil and Chile, and so on. So even though the total team, the virtual team, is bigger, there's always been like a very strong core, especially on the technical side. So like everything that is needed to maintain and operate Hattrick and build new features is there. So yeah, that's great. So I mean, what what do you usually do? I mean, you you build. I guess all the developers do everything in some sense. But do you see yourself as having some special role in all of this?
I mean, I'm probably consider myself very structured. So then I like to keep track of things. So uh, I I used to do every morning like a check, a general check of Hattrick, like how are things. I would check our tools that we're probably going to show a bit later, and the forums, especially like stage. And it was great. I did it for years, actually. I mean, not 4 years. I did it 4 years. And then what happened was that, of course, I had like projects, new developments and stuff also assigned to me. But this ended up taking a lot of time, because I did it my morning check, and there was always something that came up, and then it turned into 2-3 hours of my time every single day. So yeah, then well, I decided that we could split. So then now I only do Mondays, which is of course usually the day that more things come up, because the weekend has passed, all the matches. And then but then the rest of the week, each day is taken by a different person. So then of course it doesn't mean that that person solves everything, especially like Johan has one of the days, so there's very little that he can do, but he can always poke. And even me, sometimes I know that there's something that someone else did, but yeah, that's how at least I start my week. I do that, and then every Monday morning we have a weekly meeting. And then we talk for about an hour with the group, just team meeting, everyone saying what they're doing, what they're going to do next, if anyone needs anything from someone else, and we just coordinate and stuff. My tasks in particular, apart from all that maintenance, is to develop new projects. We right now is like the ones that do the most of the new development is Marcus and me. Daniel also does development, and of course now Juan is taking more and more things. And Marcus and I sit together at the office in Malmo because we like it. So then we work very close. So everyone has a project assigned, but we help each other a lot and talk and discuss and everything. Of course, with the rest of the team too, but it's also nicer when you're actually sitting physically beside someone. So my strength is not design and front end at all. I'm very much more comfortable with back end, but of course I do develop functionalities all the way through, from database to front end to design or a bit. So yes, we both Marcus and me and Daniel and Jens, who are the and Marcus and Daniel, who are the, what did I say? Marcus, me, Daniel, and Juan are the developers, and we basically, the four of us, just do everything when it comes to development. It's not like one does front end, one does back end, or one, no, we basically do. And then Jens is the database admin, so he also does some development, but his strength is databases and servers, and yes, he's the one keeping everything running smoothly for all of us.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's great. So, like on a longer time frame, so like the weekly rhythm is this Monday meeting where we kind of sync up, and then we tend to not have that many scheduled meetings. We don't like meetings basically, for the sake of it, but there's always like one-on-ones and two and threes going on as needed. So we would just set up a call and solve things, or like work in parallel when that's necessary, of course. But then we do like once a season we have a proper like off-site usually, or like a 2-3 day meeting when we like really go through all the projects of the previous season. Like, did we do what we set out to do? Do we need to follow up on stuff? And then set out like what we want to achieve in the next 3 months, brainstorm those projects, and like do most of the specs and like time assessments. We try to do that in 2-3 days as much as possible, so that we leave that, and that's a physical meeting where everyone comes, so that we have a shared vision on what has to happen in the coming months. And then so that's like from there the weekly meetings is in relation to the roadmap that we built, so to say. But I think like we try to come to these planning meetings with usually me and Daniel has a rough idea what we wanna do, like this is an area of Hattrick that needs some work. We have to do something for supporters. We have to do something for the match engine. These things need to be fixed. But from then on, it's a lot of brainstorming on what we actually do, like within the team, and that's something. The team is small enough to make that possible, I think. And then basically based on who has the best the developers pick the projects that they are most keen on, maybe most of the time, and sometimes we have to take some projects that are not so fun, but always having a rough idea of who does what and when.
And the ones that are more complicated or sensitive, we take in pairs. For example, the cup with the pre-seeding of the next round, that was kind of a delicate thing. So then we did it, two of us, just to make sure. And I mean, even if it's my project, then it's very common that I ask Daniel or Marcus or someone to, this is my idea of the implementation. What do you think? Or even especially like delicate code that can't be tested a lot, then it's like, can you check this is what is supposed to do you agree? Of course we try to test as much as possible, but with some cases it's just impossible. So then we do that a lot. So we pair up either for a whole project or for the most sensitive parts. Yes.
Yeah. No, but and it's interesting, like, because I think I haven't mentioned this in previous streams, but when we had 10, 15 developers working in Hattrick, we didn't get more done because everyone, like, the group was too big. So people would like go off and do projects that they felt like, and not like according to what we had agreed on in meetings and so on. And I mean, that was absolutely not, that was the fault of us as managers more than anything, of course, because it hadn't been very clear what was expected. But it really becomes much more hard to lead a team when you're many, and maybe people think that I have an area that I'm responsible for, like, this is my area, this is my part of the system that I'm going to work on, and then you kind of, maybe you have an incitament to invent projects for that part of the system rather than seeing the big picture. So that is something I'm super grateful for, that we have come away from. But that everyone sees the same goal, so to say.
Yeah, we have apart from the Monday meetings where we always catch up with each other, we have these like project management tools where we have like things that need to be spec'd, then these are things that are already spec'd, and then who is going to be responsible for taking them, then things that are in progress is ideally just one per person, and then ready to be released and then released.
Yeah.
So this is all of us can see everything, so it's very good. And then of course in each project or task, in each project we have like different tasks, and so I mean of course we internally we do it for ourselves, but like a checklist and stuff with all the specs, and then but anyone can see it, so we can get like a feeling of what the rest are doing all the time.
Yeah, I guess we can mention it's a Trello. We use Trello for that. We have a public Trello board for the small irritations, so it's on the same. It's like a private part of that, and then we also use Slack as our chat and voice tool where we have the meetings. It's has been a big improvement of Skype that we used before. It's even painful to think about it. The fact that we used it, but that was the way. And then we have our old internal tool, also the Hattrick admin tool, and that's also very, very important. And that's like where we have. We don't use it for project planning, but we use it for all the tickets, bug reports, and communication with users, and for a million other things, like just managing, administering the game, and editing texts and so on.
So admin is another website, and I would say is mainly for our volunteers and our communication with them. But that's where, for example, LAs can do the translation. and where game masters can see what users report or the message that are sent. And those are just two examples of like 100 things that are in there, and of course their communication to us too.
Yeah, both LAs and GMs, they are definitely worth their own streams. I think at some point it would be interesting to talk more about those. But I mean, they do amazing work, and it's quite a lot of work as well, because every user that signs up is, I mean, either checked by algorithms, but many times also checked by a GM that it's a legitimate sign up, and
that the team name is not offensive and things like that.
It's not someone that is signing up their 10th team. And the and the LAs, the translators, they every text that we add to the system, by HT, every editorial is immediately distributed to these 50 plus languages, and they are notified that they have texts to translate. So it's a lot of work taking place in there every day. I just wanted to show an example, because we have two main communication systems. We have the bug tracking tool, or the issue tracking tool, which we called Ripley. Can anyone guess why it's called Ripley? Can you guess, Antonio?
I'm sorry.
No, yeah. Okay, so it's called Ripley because it's that's where we squash the bugs, right? So it's from was she called Lieutenant Ripley or Sergeant Ripley in Alien? Yeah. So yeah, it's for Sigourney Weaver in Alien. And then the communication tool, it's called Paulie, after the character in Spin City, who was the communications manager there. So that's like a little nerdy humor from back in 2003 or something. Anyway, so yeah, so I'm just gonna show you because I thought it could be fun to see. Can you present the admin screen there? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So I don't know if you can see everything here, but so basically yeah, I took away some stuff, but basically you come in here and you have tools for administrating the users and checking the user, checking logins, team logs. Then you can check game data, matches, players, teams, youth, team logs, and of course you can't manipulate any of this data as a volunteer. Very important to say. And we also hid high details that might give you an advantage in the game and so on. But and a lot of these options are not available to GMs, I should say. Also, they are only for Hattrick employees.
Yeah, I would say GMs have maybe 7 or something of all of those links that you have.
Okay. Yeah. Anyway, so basically everyone has what they need to do and nothing else. But you see here the text interface, how you can update everything from templates on emails and my Hattrick editorials, news mails, Lang admin. That Lang admin is where all the texts are translated. And then you see in the main window here in the Paulie, that's where we get Paulies submitted, usually by GMs, about something that's been reported in the forums or
No, sorry, those are replays. Policies are from users to GMs.
Yeah, sorry, replays. Yeah. So the replays are bug reports usually, and they are sent in by GMs most of the time, or by us ourselves, and so they end up like in an inbox where they're unread, and then someone reads them and assigns them to someone in the team usually. So then we had, I mean, we can talk a little bit about the Ripley's, because I mean, usually, and this is like one of Goosey's main frustrations, I think, because it's very easy. Like if you put your attention on something else, that because these Ripley's, they tick in, they come in new ones every day, right? So it's very important to handle these boring stuff all the time. But we started, and that was your idea, to have every month on top of like the daily, what you do is like you take the most important ones when they come, when you have to take them, but like the less important ones that are maybe not so urgent, they tend to get forgotten. So we started the Ripley Day, and that was Goosey's idea. That's the day when we just
just like a general idea, a replay can be something very urgent, like matches are not being simulated, or training is 1 hour late for this league, and then of course we have to run, of course, even sometimes out of office hours, and come in and fix it. But it can also be this particular user didn't get this particular achievement, and then of course that could take a week, a month, or sometimes even more to get fixed, because they pile up. I mean, there are days where we get 10 replays, 10 new replays. So yeah, so that's why I came up with this idea, because even if you try to keep the number down and you take the most important and urgent ones, there's always more and more. So it's great to just all of us sit down one day every month and just fix stuff, and it feels good.
Yeah. And the new thing this month is that we had a second one of those where we only work on the really old tickets, the ones that are like every single month they get passed over because they're very, very strange, very complicated, and like the value is maybe not so certain, but
exactly.
Still they need to be fixed at some point. And so yeah, but that it feels very good. Like those days, we should have saved this screenshot from one of those days when everything is green.
Yeah.
Because all the tickets were fixed on that day. I was just also gonna show you how a ticket could look. If you can
want to
show
turn the other screen?
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Okay. Oh,
Oops.
it's all right. Can we turn it? No, we can't. All right.
Not
That's a
from
little
here.
ridiculous. Okay, so we take that away. Can you take it away, please? And let's see if I can upload it in a better format. Just a second. Should we take some questions? There's quite a lot of questions that are coming up. If you can have a look. Strange. It's in the correct shape. When I can just show my screen, maybe it's better.
Maybe you can send to me.
I think I can share my screen, and then I can see. Not sure what I will show now. Okay. There we go. Am I showing something? No.
No.
Okay, there was some security thing. Never mind. It's not that important. Let's go over to the questions instead. I think. I saw one here that looked interesting. Okay, so we have one here. Would you, from 832, can you share it about small
Yes.
irritations? It's just because that was mentioned. Would you consider spending a few months working through the small irritations thread you have listed and completing as many of those irritations as possible? Well, do you find the question? You can highlight it, Antonio, for me, please.
I'm
832.
looking for
Yeah.
822.
Well, I mean, yeah,
Mm.
or 9:32, depending on your time. Or
Sorry.
I'm on Chile. Here is
well,
5.
Okay.
the start of the stream plus 32 minutes.
Yes. From who?
Identity shaker, right?
Yeah.
Or
Ah,
can
But anyway, yeah, Goosey, you go.
Yeah, so just a small background. There is a thread in the global forum called Small Irritations, and then HT Tassos has been great and spent a lot of time, and he created this Trello board with a card for each of them. And well, I mean, spending a few months, as he suggests, is like everything else would stop. So but we have decided to spend some time on it, and I'm actually working on some. I'm not going to say in which area, but it's something that when I saw it, it's like my eyes, like I want this, I want this, I want this. So I've been working for this week in those, and next week for sure they will go for testing on stage. So they're all from smaller irritations. So yes,
It's not forgotten.
no,
That's good. I think maybe a little bit similar here. Well, maybe not, well, 8:35 from Fami, or whatever time it is. Yeah. Have you considered a simplified version of such a board open to the community? And I think he or she is referring to the Trello board that we were talking about, not to small irritations, because that is already open to the community. I feel like it's very often that bugs get reported multiple times and multiple forum threads of the same thing. It would be nice to have a board where you can get all the information. My fear with this is that it becomes I mean, like the problem sometimes of showing internal information to everyone is that there will be like, oh, but this, this was reported 2 days ago and it's still not done, but there was all these other things being prioritized, and it's very hard to get the context of why something was not done, when it was known to you. So it requires us to spend a lot more time on managing that information, and we have to add a lot more information in the tickets saying, but this is, might not be done until 3 weeks, 4 weeks ago. So it becomes like a full-time job just to manage that interface. We want it to be super functional for us, this tool, and if we just open it up, it's not going to be functional for us anymore.
and
yeah.
then if we manage to be really, really on top of it, then it wouldn't need to be reported a lot of times, because then it would be fixed very soon.
Yeah. But what does work is, I mean, the GMs know when stuff has been reported already, so they can tell their communities that but this is already reported, and then they can add extra info to a ticket, like, now this happened again, it happened over here, here's an extra example of it, and so on. So it does work pretty well, I would say, even though the users might not see that.
Yes, I mean GMs are really great. I mean, otherwise, without them, we would be just overwhelmed with hundreds of reports that are probably about the same thing. So then thanks to them, we just get one report, and then maybe with some details depending on what happened to each user. So yes.
Cool. So, Goosey, are you up for this question from Martima? In an ideal world where you could dedicate several weeks, months to a single project to create a new feature, what would it be?
I mean, it's a tougher question than you would think, because all of our ideas are heard, and I mean, of course, we can't just dedicate several months to one project, although we have done it, like the revamp of the national teams. That was a very long project, for example. But what I mean is, when we want to do something, and if it is a good idea, and then usually the others get on board and we actually implement it. So one example that I wanted, and I had like this vision, and is the training estimation tool. So that was something that I thought it would be really nice to have, and yes, it took time, but we did it, and I think it ended up really good. So that's it's not like in this ideal world that where I could dream of something. To be honest, nothing comes to mind, because I've worked for Hattrick for many years, and I've had many dreams that have come true. So yes.
Cool. Well, any plans to add animation to matches? I mean, this is 2 questions down. This we have covered in previous streams. We will not do 3D animation, I think, but we are always like moving very slowly towards more lively and kind of interactive live viewing, also graphically. But I think like maybe it will be like kind of more some kind of dynamic 2D rather than 3D, as it looks like now. Yeah. Okay. So are there any chances in the future that the Academy will be more interactive and competitive? Let's skip that one. Sorry.
I see an early one from Telles at 9:21. He's asking on how many servers runs Hattrick globally, all tools and various stuff. So let's see. We have about I think about 10 front end servers. So all the WWWs plus stage plus the admin tool. And then we have 2 database servers that so that's 12, and then we have rest. So I would say all in all about 15, 17. I mean, Jens is the guy that actually keeps track of all this, but I would say about around 15 to 17. And the good thing is that the big machines is, I think it's 2 or 3, and the majority are actually virtual servers. So we're very energy efficient.
Yeah, well, it has shrunk a lot. It used to be like 2 or 3 racks, and now it's half a rack about. So it's a lot more energy efficient. We have just ordered new servers, and I think what was it Daniel said was like 5 times the power and 1/3 of the power consumption or something crazy like that compared to the stuff that is 10 years old now. So it's good. The next question there about cloud infrastructure, maybe we can also cover that since it's in the same.
Yeah, it says if we're having a cloud infrastructure, no, we don't. We have everything ourselves.
Yeah,
Both
I mean,
hosting and database and all of our data. Yes.
now the only cloud stuff we use is for some stuff that doesn't have to do with the running of the game. It's like, for document sharing and so on, but it's
yeah,
not, that doesn't count. I mean, email we do, isn't that cloud? I mean, like the email sending, I guess.
No, but I think they mean like infrastructure.
Yeah, I understand. No, I understand. No, the question has come up a few times, and it's always a very strong no to going in that direction. So cool.
So I see thoughts of the new COP implementation, success, more problems than you thought. I mean, I would consider it a success. I think it was very well taken and well received. And I mean, when we change stuff like this, it's very hard to test. It's things that you don't expect, like a small detail, for example, when we just draw one round at a time, and then if two teams from the same owner would meet, then we made a switch, right? And then now we're doing like the draw like one round in advance. So then it's like 4 teams we need to consider now, because we don't know which ones are going to end up meeting each other. So it's those small details that you just don't think of, and you could run 100 tests and that probably won't happen, and then it happens in real life, stuff like that. So of course it was very sad that we had issues in some leagues, and even more sad that was our biggest leagues. Those issues were actually caused by the street teams that also we didn't consider in our tests. So that's what happens. So I think of course it was sad that we needed to redraw for the 3 or 4 cups, but I think it was a success in the end. Everything was solved within a day, and now everything is running fine, and I think people appreciate it, which is the most important.
Absolutely. Cool. So, any other questions here? Yeah. Are you ever going to add persistent sessions? Logging in multiple times a day is not very modern web development. I have sometimes answered that question, but maybe now we have a better person to answer it than me.
I was actually thinking that this question is more for Daniel and Jens that work with servers. So, I mean, a very rough thing is that we have, as I said, like I think about 10 front end servers, all the wwws. And as far as I understood, having like a shared memory between them it turned out to be very expensive and very messy, is as far as I understood. So yeah, that's how it is. So now you end up in one of those servers, and that's how it is.
Yeah. No, we did try it a long time ago to do it, and it was enormously bad for the performance. I remember we had big problems with it. So maybe I mean there's different ways to do it now, but the eagerness to do it is not very big.
Someone is asking, what about additional? This is from 951. What about additional statistics for the matches? For example, this player has scored X times against this opponent. I mean, what happens is that we have our match archive is huge. I mean, we're talking about hundreds of millions of matches. So then finding historic data about that detail thing, like matches between two teams throughout all the history, then we have to go it's very costly performance wise. So we of course have tried to introduce a lot of these commentary events that are fun, and what we usually do is we try to like prepare the data, so we have like a small duplicates just for to be able to pick up quickly to show stats, but showing something like that, like how many times has a player scored against a specific opponent, then you need to go to the archive, and that is very costly in the terms of performance.
I see something here. This is an interesting question that I would like to know the answer to, actually, from Goosey. Would a community manager also be a useful asset for developers? Of course, we have talked about the hiring of a community manager on the show here before, but what's I mean, like your perspective as a developer, what would you need help with, so to say?
The right community manager, yes, absolutely. I mean, because I spend time in the forums and I don't want to drop that. I still like the Hattrick community, but sometimes it's good to have like a small filter between I mean, as I said, the GMs are great, but someone that has all of the knowledge of what we're working on what we're doing, that can talk directly to the community. So I think so. I mean, it has happened that a community manager also brings like more work because they're so eager and they want so much to happen and they can't do it themselves, of course. But I think first that energy is usually great. They bring like the user's energy to us, and then we feel motivated. But also mostly, as I said, that they have the eyes everywhere, and they come to us with stuff that is already filtered and ready for us to take our hands on. So I think yes.
Good. The right person
Yes.
is very, very much desired.
Yes.
That's good to know. Cool. Let's start to round off here the questions, but we have one more from Identity Shaker. That's interesting because it's on another project that Goosey worked on. The recent penalty update was very good. Why does there have to be such a long gap between each penalty?
30 seconds. Well, because matches are how they are in real life, right? A match takes 90 minutes, so it's just a matter of real lifeiness. I mean, they could be every second or every millisecond. For us, it doesn't matter. All the matches are simulated completely in advance, but it's just because of that. Some suspense.
Yeah. So we can have as a big release next season. Now the delay is only 20 seconds between penalties.
Absolutely, that would take 1 minute for me to fix.
Okay. Luke here is asking, are you planning to make a native mobile app that works?
Okay.
So I mean, as opposed to having a native mobile app that doesn't work, which we used to have. No. I mean, we don't have a native app, but the advantage of having the app that we have now, which uses the web as yeah, the website is the source of the functionality in the app. Goosey could explain that better, but we don't need to develop it separately. The functionality we can use the functionality of the web in another interface, but it saves enormous amount of time for us. So otherwise, we would not be able to have a full featured app, basically.
Yeah. So as Johan says, it's basically just mirroring like a small browser. So if you actually browse to the mobile site on a mobile browser, then you would see exactly the same. The only difference is the push notification. So it's very easy for us to develop because we just do one coding, and then it's both browser, Android, and iOS. Everything is out. So
Let's see here. If the matches are completely calculated in advance, then wouldn't it be possible to generate the additional statistics by using some limits? For example, player X is from season 58, so no matches from before that time. Well, yeah, you go, Goosey.
yeah, but first you need to consider that yes, matches are completely simulated in advance, but then there's another league waiting for their matches to be simulated, and then another, and then another. So it's not like if we simulate everything 10 minutes before or something, we have 10 minutes to spare. It doesn't work that way. And also, yeah, I mean, basically that. Of course, yes, we could filter, knowing like the age of the player, but everything is done by the match engine. I mean, we could build like an external tool to read the data that the match engine has just inserted to try to get stats, but in the end, it's the same database, and it will basically be the same as if the match engine would do it to. So.
Yeah. Okay, so two here. One is about local circles. I guess I can answer that. Are you happy about how local circles work? I mean, of course, it has not been a huge success. It's not used very much. We can admit that. But I mean, I keep getting notifications that my local circle is the chat is going hot all the time here in Lisbon, which is pretty cool. So I mean, I guess it was a bit of an experiment. We wanted to find ways to make the mobile app more relevant, and like the location of the app is something very unique to that device that we don't have on the web in the same way. So I don't think it was wasted time, but and I think we might still, see maybe that there could be things that could fit into that that part of the community, so to say, or that community tool. But it's not something we're giving a lot of energy on, for sure. And then the next question, I guess that's for you, Goosey. Is the match engine still in VB?
No, there is no more VB code in Hattrick. Yeah. So the match engine itself, we migrated quite a while ago now, right? I think 5 years ago or something. But there was also an app that was in VB that did take care of like training and team updates and that stuff. And then I started maybe 1 year ago to migrate it every Friday. I just didn't work in any projects or anything. I just worked on this. I took I was just so annoyed of having this super old code, inefficient. So I started doing it. I didn't even ask for permission. I just said like, sorry bosses, I'm going to take one Friday, one day a week, and just do this because I'm tired. And then I was done. I was done in the summer, before the summer. So no more VB code in Hattrick at all.
No, it was quite. I mean, like there was many years when we were using this language, and like we only had like a pirated CD with the Visual Studio on that. It was impossible to get it. Like basically the business was hanging on this CD. So it's good not to be dependent on it anymore.
Yeah, what happened is that that code is so old that you needed a Windows XP machine to to build it and stuff. So then it was horrible. So if something needed to be changed, you needed to open up a virtual machine with Windows XP and code there. Like it was really horrible. So I'm so glad, and everyone is so glad. I think. Yeah. So
yeah, absolutely.
we actually did a small celebration when it was done.
Okay. Any plans of improving the transfer compare? There's quite a bit of criticism regarding how effective it is.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know exactly the status of that, but we have talked about it back and forth.
Yeah, we have talked about it, and I think it will come. Yes.
Yeah. Can we expect new achievements this year?
Haven't we have like 2 batches already?
Yeah, I think we've added quite a lot. I don't, maybe not this year, but we usually now we like to just add some once in a while. So you can expect some next year, for sure. Next one, are you hiring software engineers? We still have one position that we want to hire to. We have 2 positions, community manager and another developer. So you can expect something to come.
So send your CV if you have.
Yeah, exactly. We're. I mean, I don't want to say anything about Schadenfreude and so on, but it's always much nicer to hire when in recessions. So now you have. We're still going to hire, I promise, this coming year. Let's see.
Do HT developers get their own HT hoodies? Yes, we do.
Yeah. From our endless source in the warehouse, we still have some hoodies. Okay, so one last question, and then we're gonna wrap up, I think, because we still have one more thing to do. I was wondering if you would consider enabling the possibility to give new orders during halftime. This is something that we have talked about in the past, and I think we're quite keen to try it, but it's it would have to be like something that is agreed between the coaches. So you agree with the other coach that you want to do this. It's quite a big project because we need to divide the match simulation into. But and it's not on our roadmap. But I did discuss it with Daniel when we had our little vision meeting in September, and we both think it's a cool thing. So
The good news is that with the new rewritten match engine, it's actually possible. Before it was just impossible. No matter how much you tried. But
Yeah.
now it is actually possible to do it. So not easy, not simple, but it's possible.
No, but I mean, I guess it, like, I could see that we just think like now it's time to try it because it would be fun. You know, it would be fun to build it, and then we would release it for tournaments probably first and just see how it feels. And I think, like, I mean, we do want to make the live experience more fun and interactive. So I think, like, if both managers are online, it makes total sense to be able to do it. Absolutely.
Or maybe to choose another tactic before the match for second half.
Absolutely, why not? Okay. Will we increase the number of substitutions in the future? I mean, now I guess we should, you know, because now there are more substitutions in real life. The main problem is the interface. There's no space for the other substitutions. So, but that's not a great argument. But I think that's actually the biggest obstacle right now. Okay, so we're already 10 minutes past what we should be, and we still have Antonio's segment here on the Youth Academy, and we missed, because I asked Antonio to read up on your team, Goosey, because you're the only HT that does not have to be ashamed of their Hattrick team and their Hattrick career. Can you just give me a little what's your biggest success in Hattrick?
Me?
Yeah, with your team.
I mean, I've been in the top division in Venezuela and won the cup. I would say, even though my team is still very decent, ever since I became a Hattrick employee, I'm not competing anymore the way I used to. Well, first, I thought it was like a bit like morally ambiguous, so to speak. Maybe people would think that I have an advantage because I know I can see the match engine code. That's not true at all. I mean, I know how the simulation works, but that doesn't change anything. And now everything is pretty transparent, and we have like the rating predictions, and so it basically anyone can see anything. So but then in the beginning I felt, and I also was like very deep into stuff, so I actually demoted to division 3 or 4 or something, and then I was like, what? So then I started competing a bit again, but I used to spend hours and hours in the transfer market because my strength is not really tactics and stuff. My strength was to have a lot of money, make a lot of money. So then I used to spend many hours in the transfer market, and now I can't. I don't have the time for that anymore. So I'm still hanging on there, but not as I used to. That's the summary. But I still play though, and I still analyze my opponents and send match orders. And yes, people say HTs don't play the game. I do.
That's good. Cool. So.
Well, what did Antonio do?
Huh?
You said that Antonio had something had done something
Yeah.
with my team.
No, I just asked him to.
Yes, I was watching your team, and it is very decent. you were in first division last season. You lost your promotion match. Uh, it was very close. You have players with a very funny nickname.
Yeah, in Spanish.
Yes, in Spanish. I was very happy when I saw that. Um, I don't know your strategic or favorite tactic, but I think you have a balanced team, and you have won the national cup in the season 49 and
Mhm.
one secondary cup. But it is true what you say, and I mean when you work in Hattrick is hard to understand to the other managers that you don't have any advantage.
Yeah.
So I can imagine that maybe it's not uh, a good motivation for you to compete, but you are the number four on your country in achievements. So that's very good.
It used to be one. Now I blinked and then three have passed me. So I need to.
Yes,
Yeah.
Masuka and others managers.
Create some new achievements.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, no. It's actually the opposite. New
Yeah.
achievements were created and then they had them and I fell behind. But I like for example, I I use as you said last season last season I was in the top division. I didn't mean to promote. I just happened to be in a very easy division 2. So I ended up promoting and my team was super inferior. I shouldn't have been in the top division. So then what happened was when you when you are the inferior team, you can only have good luck. You can't have bad luck, but because you're expected to lose, right? So then I had I think one lucky win and one lucky tie, and I feel so bad. It's like no, I don't want to have lucky wins. I don't want to be like the underdog because then people are going to think that I did something on purpose, but well, in reality, there's no. I mean, there's a match engine that
Mm.
does stuff. So, but yeah, so I'm a bit happy that I demoted because I it didn't feel good.
So now, we're also gonna get shit from the people that win due to random, not only the ones that lose due to random. So, Goosey, you're unhappy with winning despite being the underdog.
Yeah.
That's too bad. Cool. Uh, yeah, he's Koenig is here suggesting, what about logging the results in a transparent and unchangeable audit trail? That way, employees could play competitively. It would take massive data, though. Yeah, I don't think that's the. I mean, there is some logging, so of course, but and I mean, we
But
have been able to. Yeah.
but it's still. I mean, how am I supposed to? I can't even imagine. Like first, I'm sleeping while my matches are played because I'm still playing in the Venezuelan league, and those are at 11:30 on Sundays,
Mm.
and I'm sleeping. And then even if I would be awake, it's like okay, that small amount of time between the match simulation and where the match is live, then I would like need to go into the database and change that. No, that doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't. So is Belchis still going strong in Venezuela? He used to be a legend back in the day.
Yeah, Belgium was like the reason I never won the league.
Mm.
And yes, I mean, he was just one step above. It was like impossible to win against him unless you were very lucky. So he's still around, Simoncho. I think he's in Division 2. He's not like the unbeatable master that he used to be, but he's still competitive, and I think he's
Mm.
still logging in. So yes,
But he
he's
used to be. I don't know if he still is, but the team that had won the most leagues, um, league trophies,
yeah.
right? Yeah. I don't know if that's true still, but
Yes.
Okay. So, is there anything we have missed that we should talk about, Goosey? You think?
I don't think so.
No. We can always have you back
Yeah,
some other
sure.
time.
Has
Yeah.
been fun. So
Yeah. It's fun. It's
no
a
one has
nice.
insulted me in the comments. That's actually nice.
No, it's maybe it's someone has been insulting someone, but I don't think you were targeted or any of us. So that's good. But no, it's a very nice vibe here. I think in the streams, nice people here. So let's thank you, and then we're gonna have one more segment, right, Antonio, to go over to your Hattrick lesson. So
Yes.
this is like a little segment that we it's designed so that it can be broken out, and we're also gonna package it as like tutorials for newbies and people that want to learn more about Hattrick. So what we're
Great.
gonna talk about today?
Today we're going to
Uh,
talk about uh, Youth Academy.
Cool.
Yes, do you want to say something, Goosey?
yeah, I was going to say that I'm going to leave you.
Okay, thanks a lot.
I know about the Youth Academy already, so
Mhm.
I can skip this part.
It is okay. Thank you for everything.
Yeah,
Thank you
it
so
was a
much.
real pleasure. So
Thank you.
bye, bye guys.
Bye bye. Cheers.
Bye.
I actually need to see this. I mean, I was the one to design it a long time ago, but I guess I, I I I need to learn more about it, how you actually play it.
Okay, let's do it. Um, First thing I have to do, I want to say, I'm sorry, it is why Youth Academy is important in Hattrick. Okay, as we know, we have two different systems in Hattrick for young players. Okay, today we're going to talk about Youth Academy, and this is for me is one of the most important aspects. You have to be good to be success in Hattrick. Why? Because you can earn win much money if you know how to train your players, and you can form a homegrown team if you know how to train your players. Okay, it's not an easy decision what you have to decide when you're training, because you have many different players and sometimes you don't know who you have to train first or who needs to have the purity. But here we go. Well, in Youth Academy we have uh, to hire some scouts. um, in my case I have those three, but I don't know really if it's important the scout. Uh, I I have had very good and bad experience when I change them. So we don't we are not going to talk about that. The first thing you have to know is you can be in a league, and the most important is you take a league of just 4 teams. Okay, because when you finish the league you can get out, you can leave of your league, and you can get in another new league, so you can play 2 matches in just 1 week. And in Youth Academy, players trains when they play a match. Okay, so if you have 2 matches in 1 week, your players will train more. Okay, so my advice is, if you want to train your players in the better way, always choose a league of 4 teams, okay? And the same day your league is going to finish, you have to leave off there, okay? That's the first thing. The second thing is training, okay? This is a very uh, hard aspect because you can train 2 different trainings, okay? In here, in formations, it doesn't care what formation you have trained, okay? In youth academy, it's not important is if you win or lose matches, okay? The important of here is you get the best players for your team or to sell, okay? So the only thing that here is important is primary training and secondary training, okay? Go to the players. For example, if your players have played a match, you have to click on reveal and they will show you their abilities, okay? And for example, you need to know what player is good to train and what player is good to fire, okay? For example, when you call a scout, if the player has 16 years and is your first option, is maybe not the best decision if you decide to take that option because the player could be 90, 96 days and uh, is not going to be a good player. Don't will have won't have a good potential. Okay, if you are calling a scout and the first option is of 15 years, that's good, but that is just one part of this. Okay, you have to see if the player is showing you any important skill. For example, this player can reach solid defense. Okay, and if that player has 15 years, that could be a very good option. Okay, um, about players, you can find many different uh, kind of players. For example, I have this one. This is called Jesus Martinez. He is defending. He can reach defending 6 and winger 6. So this is for me is a good player if I train very well. Okay, so the train for this player uh, have to be defending and winger or defending and passing or defending and defending, for example. Okay, but I don't know. I don't have just one player, so I have to see what is my best player, and that is want to have the priority on my team. For example, this one is very good, but he has not speciality. Okay, so I want to think what I want. I want a player to make to make a team, or I want a player to solve. If I want a player for my team, I need to get more than one player because the best option is to have all players of similar age. So if I get 3 players of similar age, I can start a new good project. For example, I have this one, Johan Honau, and I have Jorge Dustans. This is not a good player, but is a common player and he has quite speciality, so it's not bad. And who else? It could be this one, Frodo Tevenar. So with three with those players, I could uh, make a team in the future, but they are not good players to be sold because they are not good in days to play for the national team, to 21 team. For example, uh, I use this website in which, well, this is a CHPP product in which I review my players. For example, Johan, who now has this score, so this is the best player of my youth academy for my main team. And if you look the stars, you can see how many matches this player could play for 21 team. So this is not good, this is not good, not good, not good. And I don't have good players to for 21 team. But if I look my other teams, for example, this one from Suriname, I can see uh, he is in the best. He has the perfect age. Okay, so if you want to sell a player in a good price, you have to see how many matches he could play for 21 team, and if he has a speciality or not. Okay, and their skills, because for example, this player is very weird because he has defending and he has scoring. And what can I do with that player? I could use for a long shot team, yes, but he has not a speciality. And could I train him in playmaking? Yes, I could, but he is just level 3, so it's not very good. Uh, but if you found a player, for example, like this one, this player has defending, playmaking, winger, passing. I can use him as winger, as defending, as forward in the future, and he has a specialty. Maybe this player could be sold very good. Okay, so uh, you have to choose one or two or maybe three players to train, but you can't train all players at the same time because you have to prioritize which one you want. And uh, other thing you have to know when you play a match, if you play creatively matches, if you use this option, your players will have uh, more options to show their specialties. Okay, so always use this tactic in youth academy. Okay, and the last thing I want to say, and the most important, is you can uh, make that your players chose the skills you want. For example, if I have this player Ramon O'Ryan, Johan, is the skills of the player being showed?
Yep, yep.
Yes, thank you. If I have this player called Ramon O'Ryan, and I want that he shows me his principal skill, the skills that he has now in this moment in playmaking, what I have to do is to train playmaking as principal training. Okay? So if he is the only players playing in the middle, he will show to me his playmaking level that he has in this moment. Okay, and if we want to get the potential skills of one player, you have to train as secondary training the skill you want your player chose. For example, if I want this player show to me the potential skill of scoring, I have to train as secondary training scoring, and we need to don't use other player with that skill revealed. For example, this this player has not revealed scoring, this this neither, and this neither. So I have to do this. Just use one forward and go to train as my second training scoring. And when you have a player you think he is an interesting player, you have to start revealing all their skills, because maybe you can lose some players if you don't know how good they could be in the future. Uh, and I think that all are my advices. If you have a bad player, just fire him. I'm so sorry. I'm going to destroy your dreams. Yes, fire him. Goodbye, Wilson del Carmen. And that's a very good advice, because you can get confused if you have too much players. When a player chose yellow in here, that means that that player can't learn anymore in that skill. Okay, and skills of young players uh, has some sub levels. So, for example, this could be 6.2, or this could be defending 7.5, maybe. Okay, but the important thing is they reach yellow. Okay, but not train all players. For example, this player was my priority when I hadn't other players, but is not a good player really. But this is my priority in this moment. Okay, if I can train together with other like this, it could be fine. But just choose one or two players to train, because uh, it's better to sell, for example, to sell two players very expensive, to sell five players very cheap. Okay, so you just have to know how to identify which players could be good sold. Okay, maybe in your country you can find any scout of younger players, youth of youth academy. And if you don't have, always you can ask someone if he's in good days for U21, or you can use this website, Rate My Academy, and you can check how your player is about days and skills, and even you can see if he has any height skills speciality, because sometimes when your player has an special event on one match, the the game or the coach didn't see that, and uh, doesn't appear on on the website of Hattrick. But here you can find if you have one player with one height specialty. Uh, and I think this is all for today. Do you have any question, Johan?
No, I don't. But this CHP tool looks very interesting. I really have to try it out. I will try
Rate
it
My
out.
Academy?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It is my favorite site for youth
Hmm.
academy players.
Cool. Very nice.
Uh, and last thing I want to say about this, it is the middle of the money that my team has. I have won by my youth academy.
Hmm.
Actually, I want to show you the secret of my team is youth academy. Just that. For example, I'm going to finances and then to, oh, I'm very poor. Don't look this, please. Forget it. More info. Not like this way. Is not here. It is here. Finances overview. Not here. This happens when I change the language of my browser. All seasons. And here you can see. Oh, I forgot that we don't have the same DBs, but this is too much money.
Yeah, it's a lot. So the youth academy is the secret of your team. You're saying?
Yes, because I have won much money in this.
Okay. So one thing that I'm interested in, because like we were always thinking about how to like consolidate and like to make the game less confusing for newbies, and we have two different youth systems. We have like the very old youth pool, and then we have the youth academy, and it's still a choice that you have to make. And of course, most serious users will choose the youth academy. But I mean, what's your view on the old youth system compared to youth academy? Is there any reason at all to not have, like, is there any type of user that should stick with the old system, you think, or is it just
Um,
a no-brainer?
when you are a newbie, maybe you don't have too much time to learn all about Hattrick, but it's a very good idea that you start your youth academy in your first days, even if you don't know too much about Hattrick, because if you get a good player, you can make money very fast.
Hmm.
But I prefer this system because uh, you can uh, you can form a team with your players, and you will know what players you will have and when you will have. So this is very good.
Hmm.
Uh, you will know uh, when you can will sell a player and you can will have that money.
Hmm.
So that's very important. But the other system is good for people that don't have too much time uh, to manage the youth academy, and is good if you uh, like get surprised.
Hmm.
But this way is uh, hardest, but more efficient because you can see what you're going to have, so you can organize your team, your finances. You can form a homegrown team. So I think this system is very good, but it takes time. The other system, I used it when I started in Hattrick, and I can remember I just took one good player, Michael Penrose.
Hmm.
Yes, but I think this system is better. And the first advices for new users is uh, always play in a four teams league. Um, don't forget to make friendly matches every 3 weeks. Uh, Start training, uh, for example, defending, and go to change the players of position
Mm.
and look the stars that the players have in the match. Um and always um, always try to choose the players of 15 years, and the players you receive when you start in the youth academy, they are not good players.
Mm.
Maybe one or two of them, but uh, it's not it's not possible that you have many good players when you receive the team.
So something that I run into with the youth academies, should I like optimize on the most promising player, or like try to unlock and know, learn as much as possible about all the players in my team? Because usually I guess you only have 2 or 3 players in the squad that are really promising, and the rest is never gonna lead anywhere. So you should focus on those 3 or 4,
Yes.
to make sure that you train them to the max. But isn't like it feels like maybe there's a risk that you miss some promise on some other players because you don't do the research on them. But I mean, what's your take on that? How do I make sure that I'm not missing any golden nuggets, so to say?
Yes, I get it. Uh, it's not an easy answer because we don't know if the player could be a star in the future, but you have to move them every match in different positions.
Mm.
So you have to see the performance, the star's performance.
Mm.
They have is the only way. Um, and you have to consider the age of every player. For example, if one player has 16 and 50 days, and you have other player of 15 years and 80 days, maybe you can prioritize the oldest because he has less time to go
Mm.
to the first team. But if you have a very good player and younger, you have to choose that one and forget all your other players.
Yeah.
The only
Especially if
way,
you get an email from a national team coach that this one you really need to take care of.
yes,
Then you drop
yes.
the
For
others.
for example, I started my project with this one, and maybe will will be called for the national coach. Okay, I am, um, but if you want to get a very powerful team, you need to uh, to make your team around one player. For example, like this. This is the best player that uh, I I ever had in all my life in 16 years.
Mm-hmm.
So is a quick player. Uh, when he born, he has almost 2,200 potential. So it's a very good player, and I put all my focus on this player, all my attention in just to train this player,
Mm-hmm.
and well, you can say what you
And
want.
he's 30 years old, and he's still only a prospect for the national team. Did he play on the national team? Okay, 16. No, one match for the national team only. Okay.
For the U21, but for the national
Yeah.
team, just one friendly. But
Mhm.
I hope to call him very soon,
Mhm.
maybe in the round two of the World Cup.
Okay. All right. That's good.
But this is important for the players. His personality, because he has personality number 3 in national team. This can low the team spirit. So the best players to call are players with 0 or maybe 1, because you can denominate if they get injured or low their form without lose team spirit. That's
Okay.
because this is very important in players for national team, and this is not good. And that's all about Youth Academy. Um, it's not an easy task to train your babies, but it is very funny, and you can get surprised, and you can become a millionaire if you have luck, good luck. Um, and you can enjoy to have another team, and you can enjoy uh, when you see your player when he was 15 and you receive in your team, and when he reached the top division or the national team after 4 years. Uh-oh, I can't hear. Johan, you are muted.
Yeah, sorry,
Yes.
sorry.
Yes.
I needed to mute and then I forgot to unmute. No, thanks a lot for the tutorial on the Youth Academy. It's a story for another stream, but that project was very memorable when we built the Youth Academies once upon a time. Yeah, we can't go into that now.
Yes.
So thanks a lot. I have some kids to put to sleep now, so I need to wrap up here. But as usual, lots of good questions and some that we didn't have the chance to answer. So I'm gonna spend some time here tonight and collect ideas. Yeah, we have at least one stream in the next week, one more. So I think the next one will be more about GMs and their work. We have invited one of the senior GMs, and also Peter will come, I think. So will be very interesting. I'll post more details about that on the site. So until then, thanks a lot, Antonio.
Thanks to you, Johan. Thanks to everyone to watching us. See you soon.
See you soon. Bye bye.
Ciao, ciao.
Ciao.